Everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoteric and our continuing series on the Sega Dreamcast, and today we're taking a look at Jet Grind Radio, or Jet Set Radio if you live anywhere else outside of North America. But no matter what this game is called and where you play it, it is an absolute classic. It is basically a mix between Tony Hawk and some neo-futuristic Tokyo world with awesome music and even better gameplay elements. This is just a Dreamcast classic from start to finish. It is one of my favorite games on the platform, and I would say this is probably one of the most beloved games that ever came out on the Dreamcast. And we're going to talk about everything, the gameplay mechanics, the soundtrack, the graphics, because each and every one of them is unique and amazing in their own right. But I just love how this game opens up. It kind of has the same look to Katamari as far as how the cell shading works and how the environment feels, but I will say that this game looks absolutely gorgeous. It looked great on the Dreamcast, it looks amazing with a VGA adapter. This to me would be perfectly fine if they released it on a modern system. I mean, granted, some of the textures are a little low resolution, like on that hubcap there on the bus, but otherwise, this game still looks, plays, and feels like something that could come out right now. And it's very simple to pick up and play. It is really hard to master, but the core mechanic is you need to spray paint tags across Tokyo. It's basically just Tokyo, they changed the name slightly, but it's as simple as that. All you do is move around with kind of a skateboarding or rollerblading mechanic, and you just need to tag certain things in the area while avoiding the detective who is trying to stop everybody from tagging things. It's the simplest premise, but it is the most fun game in execution. And you'll see here when we are tagging, it gives us different analog controls, and that's how you affect the world around you. They can ever so slightly be touchy, but if you make a mistake, generally it's because you did. And you'll see there in the bottom left-hand corner, we have a certain amount of spray cans. You do need to manage your inventory because you don't want to get to a tag and run out midway through, because then you're just going to be back into the world trying to find more spray paint to be able to finish the level. And I do like that. You have to navigate the level, you need to look for certain things, and you need to also hunt down these tags. As in the first area, it's not too hard to find them, but in successive levels, it's going to be pretty tricky to get to all the tags at any given level so you can move on to the next area in the game. But I do like that because it is kind of like a puzzle hunting element to the game as well. And you'll see here now the cops are after us, and if you let them get too close to you, they're going to nab you. And if that bar in the top left hand corner goes to 0, or if your time runs out, you have to start the entire stage from the beginning again. The game can definitely penalize you for not playing well, because sometimes it takes 3-4 minutes to complete a stage, and if you screw it up at the last 10 seconds, you're going to be starting right back from scratch. But I do like that old school difficulty that it does give you. It's not holding your hand, it's not checkpointing everything. You get one chance to clear the level, and if you screw it up, you have to start over and try again. But I like this here too. You can just tag different smaller areas right as you go by them, and then there's those larger tags that are going to give you the different inputs that you need to pop in. But go ahead and listen to the soundtrack for just a second. It is quite great. I'm going to let you watch a little bit of the story because the voice acting in this game is incredible too. But I'll be back in about a minute and tell you more on why this game is a classic. Be right back.
I'm hijacking the airways and terrorizing you with tunes, because we're gonna turn these dirty streets into one big dance party. Jet Set Radio! Those cats who ransacked Shibuya-cho turned out to be the Love Shockers. Love broke their hearts, and now they're looking to do some breaking of their own. Watch out for these psychos. When you see their heart-shaped graffiti around, you know someone somewhere is crying with a uki uki waku waku feeling. Can the GG save Shibuya-cho from the trap of love, or is it too late?
I just absolutely love the voice acting in this game. It is outstanding, not just for the year 2000, but if this was modern voice acting in a game that came out this year, you would still think it's really good. And I even love the character selection screen. There's so much detail in the backgrounds. It's so colorful. It's so unique. This game feels like something that could have come out last year, let alone in 2000 when the game actually did come out. And that's the highest compliment I can pay to Jet Grind Radio. This, more than any other game on the Dreamcast, feels like a modern game. I love the colors. I love these buildings. Visually, it is stunning, and I think it still looks good compared to a lot of games today. If you just upscaled this to 16:9 with HD graphics, it would look absolutely perfect. Now, granted, this is a Dreamcast series and I'm playing it on a Dreamcast, but even with a VGA box, it looks absolutely incredible. But as good as it looks, it plays as well and then it also has an incredible soundtrack. All the different sound effects, the music in the background, everything going on in the levels, it just builds to be a really special game. But you'll see here I made a mistake and didn't get any spray cans, and you can make yourself kind of have a disadvantage in this game. You're going to see I get up here onto the highway overpass, and when I turn around and find that tag, I'm not going to have enough spray cans to complete it. And the tags don't tell you how many cans you need. Once you get up to that, if you run out, you're going to have to come back. And that's definitely something you don't want to do because you are fighting against the clock. It's a pretty generous clock, but all things considered, you really need to figure out what the best route through each level is, where those cans are, and how to get them. I will say every once in a while, the game can sometimes screw you over a bit. You'll see here, I just get hit by a car from the back, and I get carried all the way out to the exit. I didn't want to exit the level, but every once in a while you just need to be careful. But I've mentioned so much about how great the soundtrack is, so listen to it for a minute. It's absolutely outstanding, and I'll come back and close the video out and tell you more why if you've never played this game, you're 100% missing out. But be right back. Each level in this game has its own unique soundtrack track, and they're all as good as the one you just heard. And I just love the game for that. Visually, it's outstanding. Gameplay-wise, it's innovative and unique. The soundtrack is absolutely spectacular. There's nothing about this game that I dislike. If I had to make one complaint, and it is a really small one, is sometimes the Dreamcast controller can be a little touchy with the analog stick, but really that's the only thing I can say bad about Jet Grind Radio, other than the fact that Sega has not given us a new game in the series in forever. And I even love the cinematics here. We pop up on this crane, grind over and jump, and the game gives us this little intercut sequence. It doesn't need to do that. We could have just jumped clear across to the other side, but the designers at Sega clearly loved this and wanted to give you as much visual flair as possible. And that is the big thing about this game, is I've never really seen anything like it before, and I've never really seen anything like it since. It just has a look that absolutely screams Dreamcast, and I would say this is probably visually the most impressive game on the Dreamcast itself. And there are collectibles here. You'll see I cheated and used an invisible wall, but there's different badges in each level that you can collect depending on how you find different ways to navigate the environment. So you definitely do want to check those out. It adds a little bit more gameplay element to the game itself. Because at face value, this game is really simple. You only have one thing to do, and it's just rollerblade around the environment you're in, find those tags, and tag them all before you run out of time. Just make sure you have enough spray cans on you to do the job, and that's it. And that's why I really think this is a great game, because it is so simple. Every once in a while you will get hung on the different environmental hazards there. I get stuck behind a pole. So every once in a while there is going to be a little bit of frustration, but you can really deal with that. And it's really just how you move around the level. The detective is trying to get us, so all we do is a loop back around one more time, and we will have enough time to finish our tag up there. And you just really need to think how you want to pick your lines through each individual level. And the more you play it, the better at the game you get. And that's what I really appreciate, because if you know this game from start to finish, you can beat it really quickly. If you haven't played in a while like me here, you're going to see I'm going to take a bullet in the back right as I jump over that ledge. But even when you're not doing great, the game is still a lot of fun. You build that momentum, you kind of make an end run around the cops here, and you jump over their car, and you wouldn't know there's any tags back here unless you looked, but you know because you haven't completed the level yet, there must still be something to do. And that is one thing. You definitely need to look in every single corner in the game, because there's no huge heads-up display. You'll see there's an arrow pointing us in a general direction, but that's sometimes going to lie to you. You're not going to know how to get there. But if you see that arrow and the level's not over, you know there's something more to do. But short of that, that is Jet Grind Radio. It is one of the best games on the Dreamcast. It still holds up incredibly well. It's beautiful to look at, it's fun to play, and the soundtrack is something I would 100% buy on a vinyl record if they offered it. Short of that, we will be back next Tuesday with another episode in our Dreamcast series. I'll have videos on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday as well. But if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. I'd love chatting with you guys. And like I mentioned earlier, if you could do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe, and that notification bell. And if you're out there in the real world today, make sure cars don't hit you from behind, because it might end up game overing you as well. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Look at the funk.